Hello everyone, meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. This is our wrap-up as we approach the midnight hour in the midst of our blizzard here late this December. If you missed it, well, it's not a bad day to miss. Our time lapse from this morning showing the blizzard in full swing. This is out at the Dakota Magic Casino earlier in the day. As we switch to the areas across the region, we see that through midday today things were pretty rough and tumble. And as we begin the afternoon here in Fargo, you can see, boom, visibility dropping to zero at times, even in town, with winds gusting upwards of 50 plus miles per hour across the region. The snow and blowing snow definitely wreaked havoc on the region. It caused power issues in Gwinner, several in Gwinner without power from last night. We're talking on Saturday evening and into Sunday midday. This is what the power crews do to keep the electricity flowing even in the worst of conditions when trees take down power lines. Thanks for sharing these photos of these crews so hard at work to keep the power flowing. As we take a look at the time lapse here once again in full swing, it was a busy day. Now let's talk about a lot of stuff here. First and foremost, currently we still have a lot of snow. You're looking at the Dakota, this one is from our Luther Family Ford position. A lot of snow and drifting snow there on the lot, a lot of cleanup to do. We still have yucky visibilities out there under a mile in many locations in southern and southeastern North Dakota, and a little bit better out in Lakes Country where we have some spots with 10 miles of visibility. Things quiet and a dry chunk of air over you in Lakes Country. I don't think you'll see much in the way of snow. There's a dry pocket of air over you. Where we still have blizzard-like winds heading into the overnight hours, basically from Grand Forks, where we have gusts over 30 miles per hour frequently. Fargo, likewise, Sisseton, and how about Oaks, gusting to almost 50 miles per hour still. So where you see the colors highlighting areas where we still have blizzard concerns into the overnight hours as cold air is ushered in thanks to these north winds, still holding on to some warmth to near 30 degrees in places like Wadena and western and southern Otter Tail County. Here's the low pressure system. You can see this thing spinning its wheels slowly in southwest portions of Minnesota. It is weakening a little bit, but the main thing that is helping us is this whole spiraling action has sucked in a chunk of dry air into parts of central Minnesota. Dry, sinking air that's not snowing, and that's a bonus. That's shut off the snow for many in Lakes Country. I don't think you're going to see much of anything. So we head into this little band of snow here in the in portions of northwest Minnesota, and we have another band that extends out towards near Bismarck. Those are the ones we're worried about. Now, these are going to oscillate around the area as we go through the overnight hours, but we do have one band in parts of Polk County, Fosston, and the Clearwater County area, all the way into parts of Clay County, and at times it does impact us here in the FM area. Another band extending into the Castleton area. That one's rather new and has just developed. Now, as we take a look also, we have another band out in the Devil's Lake Basin spreading down into the James River Valley. This snow system here, this line or band of snow extends all the way up into Kittson County, Minnesota. And this one has been lingering for hours and at times has produced snowfall rates of around an inch per hour. So anybody in this area standing a decent chance at seeing additional accumulations during the overnight hours. Blizzard warning in the pink, surrounded by winter storm warnings in the red for this until Monday morning, and that's when things are expected to wind down a little bit. So the next segment of our forecast here is going to go into that. Some of the impacts here on roads. I-94 remains closed and likely will remain closed into Monday sometime. You're going to have to tune into Valley News Live. They don't give out predictions as to when they're going to reopen, but they will not be back out and really crunching on those interstates in open country until morning, until daylight. It's just too dangerous for the plow drivers out there in the middle of the night in North Dakota's open prairie. I-29 closed from the Canadian border to the South Dakota border, and in South Dakota all the way down to Watertown was the latest we saw there. Highways in North Dakota, Highway 1 and Highway 11 down in the Ellendale area closed due to deep snow. In fact, numerous rescues were accomplished out there today by the county services and law enforcement, and they have basically shut down the plows. It is just unbelievable down there with significant snowfall, which we'll get to here in a minute for that area. Findlay Highway to Highway 18 also closed on Highway 200. A lot of drifting going on today, measured in feet. It's from 3-foot drifts near the driveway to 10-foot drifts near roof lines across the valley. Here is an example of how obstacles in the path of that gusting north wind, like garages at apartment complex, those allow the snow to just kind of pile up in between them, and you end up with that in the Moorhead area. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast for the overnight hours. And first thing I want to point out is our models are picking up good on these two different bands of snow. They're going to continue into the overnight, kind of wavering back and forth. But one thing sticks out to me. This band in central and eastern North Dakota lingers all night long. So a few locations out here might pick up significant snow. Here in the Red River Valley, we're going to have it oscillating back and forth a few inches at most, and then Lakes Country not seeing much of anything. Now, through the first hours of tomorrow, we're going to notice this. The wind speeds will still be brisk, but not as gusty. These yellow arrows indicate wind gusts upwards of 20 to 30 miles per hour as opposed to 50 mile per hour winds that we saw today. And the snow by the midday hour should be all but ending for most of us, except late in the day. Did you notice that? Time to get late in the day, central Minnesota and eastern Minnesota will finally get their taste of some more snow with this system, as we will stay in the teens all day. Here's what I'm thinking for additional snow. With that band over central North Dakota, Devil's Lake and points just west of you could see an isolated location with 5, maybe as much as 8 inches of snow. So if you're in Harvey, I think that's a little farther west. I think you have a chance at picking up 5 inches there. But otherwise, a good 2 to 5 inches of snow in the James River Valley, likely as we go towards morning. Additional snow in the Sisseton Hills. The rest of us a trace to an inch or so. Isolated locations could pick up more than that. And we have that little band out here in Minnesota. It's showing Lakes Country with a little additional snow. You haven't seen snow for hours there. Just keep in mind, you could get more snow, but particularly central and eastern Minnesota will get their share of snow on Monday, late in the afternoon into the nighttime hours. Here's what it means for Fargo. Hour-by-hour forecast, cleanup day. Snowfall in the morning hours. North winds 20 mile per hour sustained with gusts to 35 miles per hour. Still brisk and brutal in the morning. Then gradually diminishing gusts, but winds still 20 to 30 miles per hour throughout the day. No 50 mile per hour gusts. Spotty flurries possible. Temperatures stuck and stapled in the teens all day. But with winds a little lower, we'll have a chance to dig out. Your hometown forecast, pretty much everybody's in the teens as we look at a photo shared by Nancy of the Walker area. Look at the deep snow on the trees there as Pedro shakes off some fleas. Here's a look at your forecast for your New Year's Eve. Quiet. Shh. Very quiet. 17 degrees. Beautiful to ring in the new year. New Year's Day, how about 27 as we try to warm things up a little bit. Then Thursday through the weekend, another chance of what looks like light snow. Compared to this system, it will be light snow, but it will be measurable over that 3-day period as well as temperatures climb back to possibly the upper 20s for the weekend. We'll keep you up to date with that. Now, some photos from around the region to close. Ypsilanti, just a boatload of snow out there. Southern parts of Stutsman County down towards Ellendale got hit hard. Now, Bemidji recording 13 inches. How about Ellendale with 21 inches of snow reported and still snowing in your area? Jamestown 17, still snowing in your area. Some of these reports, mind you, came from earlier in the day. Snow won't be measured again until we get into Monday, so many of these likely are already up. This one is a fairly recent measurement here on this Sunday night of 13.5 inches at our studios here in Fargo. We have snow here. Frontier, though, recording 17 inches, as did the Laverne area. Grand Forks, 11.5 to 12.5 inches as a rule, with a foot in Crookston. But again, those measurements were a little earlier in the day. Here's some more measurements. Ypsilanti, Park Rapids, 12 inches. Fisher, Minnesota, 13 inches. And we'll close with the last look at that radar. The storm system continuing to spiral, but the heaviest of the snow bands starting to wane. That trend continues. The wind trend towards decreasing winds should continue into your Monday as well. A little bit better to begin your work week. That's your forecast update. We're going to post this on our website as well so that you have the latest.